I'm very honored and excited to have you guys here in the studio today, Sam and Harvey. You guys are probably in the public eye more known for the hit show Made in Chelsea, but last couple of years you're probably more known in the entrepreneurial world for actually building the better for you beer brand Primetime Beers. So we're going to get into all that, but first, for the people who might not know who you are and what Primetime is, can you give a quick intro about yourselves, and then also how and why did you decide to build a beer brand?
You want to take this one?
You can go. Started.
Okay, fine. I'm Harvey Armstrong. I'm the CEO, one of the co-founders. My background was finance. I worked as an accountant, qualified with PwC. So at Newcastle Uni. So I kind of did a hybrid course where I worked and kind of fast-tracked myself through my ACA. Grew up in Australia, actually, which kind of does play part into the story. And then moved to Spain with my mum. So kind of grown up around the world. And after sort of finishing my ACA, very much wanted something a bit more high-paced, high thrills, high reward, and to do something for myself. And kind of realised I wasn't sort of built for the working for the man and the corporate ladder and in that rat race. So that was kind of my early beginnings that kind of, got me towards where we are today, I guess. And along that journey met Sam on a train, but we can get to that once Sam introduces himself.
Yeah, so I'm Sam, the other co-founder. Background English through and through. Went to Loughborough University and then went out straight to work for L'Oreal. Didn't enjoy L'Oreal so much, just huge business. As Harvey was saying, it's kind of a small cog in a massive machine. So I actually became very friendly with the head of PR at L'Oreal, and she then introduced me to Rock Nation, which was obviously Jay-Z's music label. So I worked there for a year, doing a lot of sort of the artist management and sort of luxury travel, I suppose. So got to meet some amazing people and build sort of my black book, which has turned out to be quite a powerful tool when starting a business. So then moved from Rock Nation to the private jet business that was sort of facilitating the private travel for all these musicians. Rock Nation shut their UK office and moved everything to LA. And at the time I was very much in the London scene and didn't want to leave. So went to move for the private jet business, where I stayed until me and Harvey crossed paths again and began Primetime. But again, it was just an amazing place to meet, entrepreneurs, meet successful businessmen, create relationships with them, and being very fortunate to then leverage that today. But yeah, that's kind of me for now.
For now.
Cool. Okay, great. So how did you guys decide we're going to start a beer brand? Because none of you, what it sounds like, have no experience in that industry. Like, it's great you have the background of entrepreneurship, you've been in big companies, but a beer brand is very different from what you guys did. So how did that come about?
This is probably where the train story comes up. So Sam and I met on a train going up to Newcastle when I was at university there. Sam was going up to meet some friends. And I was going down to the bar to get a beer. And being a student, I saw Sam used to have like long shaggy poodle hair, very recognisable bloke. And I felt like he was familiar, didn't know him. But he was also more familiar because he had a crate of beers on his lap. I was like, that's my kind of guy. I was like, mate, do you want to have a beer? Yeah, sure, you go. We like shared a beer. We realised actually we had a load of mutual mates. So we like clicked over that and then had a weekend out together up in Newcastle. Then the second consecutive weekend, we met down in London at a club, completely unorganised. And then the third consecutive weekend, we met down in Oxford Brookes at some house party at 2 a.m. Again, just another part of the country, completely unorganised, and we just met 3 consecutive weekends. We just become best mates. So that's kind of how we met. And I guess what stems from that is that we had a mutual love for having a good time, very social guys, love our beer, and we're very in tune with our fitness and our health. And that's really what underpins Primetime. It's a lifestyle shift. It was a kind of passion project that solved a problem we had. It was that we love beer, but actually it's very bloating, it's heavy, it's conflicting to the lifestyle we're trying to live, which is this better for you lifestyle where you can go out, you can have fun with your mates, you can still get to the gym on midweek, and you can still have a good time and enjoy a good beer without kind of hindering, that conflicting love triangle. So that was kind of the emotive and the kind of where Primetime stems from. So then we kind of went to work and went, right, let's create a better for you beer. And it kind of started actually with the caffeine infused side of the business. So we, again, same thought process in that we'd often consume coffee and then beer, especially when we're, very much into our sports. We'd finish a rugby game, a football game, it's still 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, you got a whole day ahead of you, and you want to have a few beers in the changing room after the game, and you still got the rest of the evening to go. I was finding myself having coffee, beer, and it just doesn't work on the palate, doesn't work on the stomach, but it definitely works on like how you feel. So we went to kind of work with developing caffeine infused side of the business, and then as things kind of developed through our development of the business, so did the world that we saw around us, and the health conscious shift, and everyone training more, eating cleaner, running more. And we're like, actually, we need to really look at here at the low calorie, low carb side of it. So we the two kind of went in harmony. And we kind of, are now sort of pioneering the better for you functional beer space. So bringing a bit more of a valuable and practical addition to a great tasting beer.
I mean, everything what Harvey said was bang on. I guess COVID was a massive thing that happened in the world while we were kind of trying to develop this business as well. We'd obviously seen the espresso martini, vodka Red Bull, Jaeger bomb love pre-COVID, and then post-COVID was definitely the age of health consciousness. So people were, really caring what they were putting in their bodies, and I don't think ever in the world, well, particularly in our sort of lifetime and our parents and whatnot, there had been a time where the world had been put, basically to sleep for 2 years, where you weren't allowed to go out, and that 1 hour of exercise was becoming so important that people were like, shit, my health is the most important thing I've got. So that's really why we thought, this is perfect time to go down that health conscious angle, because like Harvey was saying, the calories were going on menus and people were really tracking their food and stuff. So in the drink space, no one was really doing it. So that was kind of the angle.
Yeah, and I think just to add, people are so much more in tune now with their input and their output, and people are training harder in the week, eating clean, and getting all those marginal gains just to get to their weekend, to their pub session, and kind of undo all their hard work and let their hair down, which is great. People want that sense of release, that enjoying those moments, celebrating with their mates, but you can now do it in a more mindful, more balanced way. So you're getting your marginal gains throughout the whole week. And then you get to your Monday and you're like, okay, now we're like, it all stacks up, compound interest and all that. So that's kind of what we're trying to do is offer that more mindful, balanced option within your drinking occasion. And we, again, going back to my growing up in Australia, it's a hugely established and developed market out there, the low calorie beer market. It's the most consumed form of lager out there. So we know that it's very much, there's an appetite, consumer appetite there. The sort of Australian culture is much more sort of progressed in terms of the health conscious shift, because they are coastal living, they're all very active. So we do see those trends come across to the UK, about 5 to sort of 10 year lag. So we've seen it there. I've, since going back for holidays, it's my go-to beer option, and we're like, let's bring it here. It's time.
Nice. And then switching on to more of the actual part of building the company, like what's your kind of circle of genius, and how did you actually implement that while starting this?
Circle of genius.
Yeah, that's a nice phrase.
What's your superpower, basically? I know what yours is.
I think I know what yours is as well now.
Well, maybe you answer for each other then.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of the beauty of us two, being best friends is helpful, when starting a business, because, there's kind of no airs and graces. We can tell each other straight. And also the thing is as well that he's so different to me in so many ways. Everything that Harvey's great at, I'm terrible at, and everything that Harvey's not so good at, I'm probably quite good at. So we really complement each other well, and don't really step on each other's toes. So I guess, Harvey's super, probably the most smart bloke I know, actually, and very in tune with the detail, very financial, amazing with numbers, which is extremely important when starting a business. Obviously, he's a chartered accountant, so building that sort of business framework at the beginning was crucial, and it's been super helpful, like ongoing. So many different modelling exercises, and with raising money, and so that's been super helpful from him. And yeah, I think day to day we've got a team of 13 now, but Harvey's eye is still very much in the detail and over everything. So it's a blessing and a curse, I suppose, because some people like to get on with their work, but Harvey's very good at picking up when they've gone wrong. So we've had some near misses because he's checked it over and pulled them back. So it's a good skill to have for sure.
Yeah, I guess thank you, Sam. Some unkind words there.
He's going to clip that now. Put on his LinkedIn.
Yeah, I guess, nail on the head. I guess I've just sort of eye on the detail, 360. And I've always loved business, and my background in accounting has given me a good understanding of all the moving parts within a business, and enough to then kind of grow and learn on my way. But then I think Sam's sort of circle of genius and superpower is people. He's a people's person. He's a relationship man. He generally has an authentic love for people. So that then translates into building amazing connections, which lead to great business being done with the right people in the right places. So I think together we do work very well.
Perfect. Yeah, you was just lucky to get that perfect combo when you became friends. So when you started the business, then, like, what did you prioritize first? So you can't do everything at once. Like, what was the main thing that you need to focus on, and how did you go about that?
The main thing, I think, like for us, obviously the liquid was the priority. It was always create good beer that tasted great first and foremost, because no consumer's going to sort of compromise on that taste experience. That's what everyone loves a beer for, that first sip. But then try and remove as much of the unnecessaries as we could, the carbs, the calories, the gluten. So that was kind of our focus. Once we had in harmony with that, we were obviously developing the brand imagery. And again, I think that was the second priority. It's like, what does this thing look like? What does it sound like? And I think we went back and forth on the name for that was the longest thing. We knew what we wanted the name to be, like from a sort of conceptual point of view, and that we wanted it to emulate like feel good, do good, like that lifestyle of what is, being able to go out, have fun, have a laugh, do it in a better, more mindful way, wake up in the morning, get to the gym, that work hard, play hard, feel good sort of lifestyle. And that was, we landed on Primetime, but it took a while to get that kind of feel good. So I think it was those two, no?
Yeah, I think emphasize the taste and the liquid was so important. I like you referenced at the top of the show, we obviously joined Made in Chelsea to build the brand that we'd come up with the idea prior. So the business was in the works, but we then decided to go on the show to really cut through. And knowing that we were on a TV show, you get ridiculed straight away if you produce a bad product. So making our liquid award winning and beating all the big guys in blind taste tests and big awarding bodies like a Great Taste Award and Global Beer Masters, to win these awards was important to us, and to get the liquid bang on, because we'd be ridiculed having a bad beer and being on a TV show sort of promoting it. So I'd say the liquid and for sure the brand is really what cuts through and people sort of resonate with now. So
how did that look like in terms of, did you had like your normal full-time jobs, and then you figured out like how to, because for me it's like I don't even know where I would start, and like who do you contact, how do you get starting producing liquid and do a lot of tests? Did you have full-time jobs while doing that? Did you get VC backed right away? Like, how did that go about to figure that out? How long did you spend, a year or 3 years before you were happy with the flavor? And then what it sounds like you were strategic, being like, we're going to join this show to promote the business. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, so we had, it was all bootstrapped. So we obviously had savings that we were piling into it to get things going. But at the same time, we were on the TV show, and the TV show was paying us. So it was kind of a double bubble. We were promoting our business and also getting paid for it. At the time, a big part of it was in COVID, and we were locked in these Surrey houses filming the show together, working on the business and getting paid there. And they were paying for their housing and stuff. So it was a good way for us to kind of make some money and do it at the same time.
So when you were on the show, the beer wasn't quite completed, the brand wasn't completed. It was kind of like you were building it while being on the show as well.
Yeah, it was very much a concept when we started. The first episode that we joined the show, we were in Buenos Aires. I'd flown out from London, he'd flown out from Australia, and we just said, look, we want to do this beer together. And we didn't have the name, we had the concept, we knew what we were wanting to do, i.e. a functional better for you beer, given the opportunity we saw, but we didn't have much more than that. So we just sort of said, right, let's get on the show to help use it as a tool to create that brand awareness, to cut through a market which is hugely competitive. So that was the beginnings. And then we I guess it took us 2.5 sort of years from there. While we're also, I would stay on the show a bit longer. Sam got a girlfriend and got boring, went off, and we kind of did them kind of side by side. And then obviously lockdown hindered the speed at which we launched, because we weren't going to launch in the midst of. So we kind of, again, that's what also helped with the name, coming out of lockdown back into your prime time. So we kind of positioned our launch for just after lockdown.
Cool. And then with the show, what did you kind of learn in terms of marketing and promoting something that other people can learn from? Because obviously not everyone has the opportunity to go on the TV show and promote it, which obviously is fantastic. But what were some of the lessons that you learned from that in terms, I guess, in marketing?
I guess like the biggest takeaway that is more generalized so that anyone can take from it, because as you say, not everyone can just hop on a TV show, is that there's just so many sort of angles to marketing, like the guerrilla marketing. There's so many ways you can skin the cat to try and get your brand out there. It's all about making noise. And if you can do it, especially in sort of the era that we're in, there's like with social media and whatnot, there are so many ways to sort of commercially, viably and sensibly cut through and make that noise and not have to pay, an arm and a leg to get it there. So I think just think outside the box if you are kind of launching on a budget, and think, what you can. There's so many angles like away from your traditional marketing that you could go, oh, actually, if I did this, maybe I could make some noise for, free or a percentage point of an alternative route. I think is probably the best takeaway. But it's been very valuable for us. And I'd recommend anyone doing it if they could. But yeah.
It's so unique being able to build a brand on TV and kind of build a personal brand alongside it. So, on the show they're featuring sort of what the business is happening, like the launch. We did the launch in Raffles on the King's Road, and we've done various events where our promotional vehicles have been shown, and they film in our office a lot. But at the same time, you're building a personal profile. So Harvey, for example, who's been on it 5 years now, has got a massive social media following, which he's then used to promote the business. So it's been it's been an amazingly powerful tool. And again, then the network that you pick up with that, the other people on the show, sort of other reality TV stars and so on and so forth, that sort of come into your circle, that then added into the sort of advocacy pool behind the brand. So yeah, it's been super powerful and helpful for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry.
Well, I was just going to add to that, because you sort of raised a good point, is that I think, if you can turn yourself into an asset, you can then use yourself to be a contra sort of agreement with the business you're starting. So for example, me having a social platform means that when we go to a bar, I can say, look, I'll come down, do a story, show that, Primetime and X Pub is a partnership, and that therefore it provides value over and above actually the value that they're potentially adding for us by putting the beer there. And it's like, if you go out and create, turn your social media page into an asset itself by, producing content within the field that you might be working in, then that's a really powerful tool that you can then use within your business. Even though you sort of might see it as a separate vehicle, you can very much connect the two.
Yeah, it leads to what my next question would be, is that, let's say you didn't have the TV show, like how would you go about promoting it?
Yeah, I think we would have done a lot the same. I think we kind of already had quite a good connection to kind of social media influencers and content creators, and I feel we probably would have pushed our own social media, like content creation more, because we would have seen the need for it, and instead we'd use sort of the show to build that profile versus probably going out and, I don't know, I would have done silly trick shots, I reckon, and started like making sort of good content that got following. And but I think otherwise, you know, we've always seen it as an add-on to our already kind of 360 marketing approach that we've used. So we probably do much the same.
I think the guys at Perfect Head, for example, are such. I mean, they obviously jumped on Dragon's Den, but they're brilliant on LinkedIn. And I actually saw one of them did a post the other day about how LinkedIn's actually the most powerful tool that they've got over and above Instagram and whatnot. And they're great at creating this sort of short form content, which is easily digestible for people that are following a brand. So yeah, I think like Harvey said, we'd have probably just had to lean in more on, you know, building our own personal brands and the business, you know, together.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I think we'd have done more behind the scenes sort of building of the brand, which we are looking to do from now. But I think we've had so much going on with the growth of the brand. It's like, it's another resource like mechanism. But I think because now we've got so much attention on what we're doing with the sort of public crowdfund, with the fact that it has been followed by a TV show, we want to bring people into the like bit office styled, because there are a lot of funny characters in our office, and expose what we get up to under the hood kind of thing. So we'd have done a lot more of that basically from the beginning, I think.
Yeah. Speaking of fundraising, did you guys have any fundraising before the crowdfund you just did, or was it all bootstrapped from the very get go?
No, the crowdfund was our third round. So yeah, we kind of bootstrapped to get the product to market, and then we got investment. We got investment from a whiskey business. As Harvey said, when I dropped off the show, I went to work for a whiskey company. I got introduced to the founder through a friend. Super successful business, kind of selling cask investments and basically ultra rare single malt Irish whiskey. So, you know, it's an insane sort of commodity now. It's more sort of higher growth than, you know, gold and watches and whatnot now. So went to work there for a bit, and then Jay, the founder and the business, came to invest. They were obviously watching what me and Harvey were doing on the side, and said to us that we should basically go full time and do it. So he kind of provided the first capital, and then, you know, everyone that sort of watched on the sidelines when we first were asking them for money said, "Oh no, not. No, we'll see how you get on." They kind of jumped in the second round, and then third round is kind of, I guess, more of the same. And then the crowdfund was sort of the cherry on top, and to get to build the community. You know, like we've been saying, we're lucky that we've got a great online community, and we wanted to build that into sort of the Primetime community and business community, I suppose. So we've now got 430 investors from the crowd, which are all super engaged, super bought in, and exactly what we wanted. So that's exciting. We're actually working on doing a big Christmas party with everyone together. So
Nice.
be nice to meet everyone properly and have a beer with them.
Yeah, I mean, just nailed it on the head there. Nothing to add.
No, with that. So with the fundraising there on the investment, it was more of a networking thing. So you said you have a second round where the ones who were kind of watching from the side on the first round, did you have to come up with some strategy to go about it, or was it quite easy because you already had the traction, you had that first investment, and they kind of came to you? Or how did you approach the investment round two?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, the round two were you know, very close friends and an ex sort of clients, I suppose. And it was, again, just me and Harvey putting everything together and you know, putting a full picture together. I guess no one's going to part with, you know, hundreds of thousands of pounds unless there's a decent business there and a decent business model and, you know, traction. We'd proved traction, and, you know, when me and Harvey are together, I think we're a powerful duo when we're, you know, talking about our business. And yeah, they got excited and jumped in. But, you know, we have seen sort of 300% growth year on year since we started. So those numbers do talk for themselves to some degree. But yeah, it's all kind of been so far about the network that, you know, we have. So
yeah, but you sort of very much put together like an investment memorandum, you know, 40-page. You know, this is what we're doing. This is our growth. This is the traction we've seen. This is a forecast, you know, which is backed by an in-depth financial model that, you know, forecasts, you know, how our costs are going to go down in the future, how our revenues are going to go up based on what trade strategies and growth strategies, etc. So not just sort of back of napkin stuff, but very much, for pre-thought. We're looking at our cash flow runway. All right, we've got 5 months to get this done. Get investment decks out 4 months prior. It's all very tight because you're a startup. You're trying to utilize the majority of your runway so that you can get your valuation to a higher point before you raise again to not dilute as much. And it's very much a juggling act to keep the dream alive. And we've done that so far. Probably got to start thinking about raising soon.
And with that, did you have to come up with certain strategy and plan? Like, did you have any challenges to actually get in front of these people? Or was it, like you said, through your network, it was quite easy to actually get in front of them? You just had to put together all the numbers and present it well? Or did you have to, figure a way out to actually get into the room?
Yeah, it was never a challenge to get in front of them. The challenge was to get them to part with their money, and that's where what Harvey was just saying comes in, which is a serious amount of work put into creating the investment memorandum and going through it. And that's really where the art comes in, is getting it all down on paper and getting it across in the best way. But
But I think sort of potential for the listeners, there's we also explored, or we also have this round gone sort of looking at venture capital and angel investors and those sort of further afield from one's network. We were lucky because we have a great network and also a business that was, people were kind of knocking on our door. So it is there, but if it's, the other routes are, knocking on others' doors and we've gone down that route to kind of start to gear up. The bigger institutional funds in future rounds, we didn't need them nor sort of fully want them in this round just because of certain restrictions that can come with them. But that's the alternative, and that was very much in our strategy and plan had we needed it. But that's also another route, I guess, worth highlighting.
I guess it comes back to the whole thing of building your personal brand, right? You have that advantage and you have the kind of leverage in that way. Where like if you have a brand, your personal brand that also then bleeds into your business, which means it's much easier. All these things make it a bit easier, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm. I do believe there's that 6 degrees of separation with someone as well. That if there's a specific angel investor out there or fund manager or whatever that you want to get hold of, there is always that 6 degrees that you can get hold of someone via someone, or someone always knows someone. And in the age of Instagram and LinkedIn and whatnot, that's only a message away. So it's just about being hungry and consistent with it, really. Yeah.
And building those like long-term relationships. That person to you down the line can actually be knowing someone that you need, but you're just not. Instead of just trying to make a exchange with people. A lot of people try to network, but actually like, hey, come and buy my stuff. Whereas like, no, let's just be helpful, build great friendships and connections, and then somewhere down the line, someone's going to know someone who's giving it back.
Sure.
Yeah. So let's talk about your go-to-market strategy. Like how did you go about that, and what kind of challenges or successes did you see through that?
Yeah, well, I think we started basically epicentering from where we are in London. So from your local pub was our first sale, and from leveraging on contacts we had that were in hospitality and starting to get that first sort of product we had in hand that we'd bootstrapped into a pub to really show that, okay, this thing sells. People want a low calorie beer. The taste isn't, we don't just think the taste is great. They do. So it was really just, we were based in Southwest London. We hit the pubs and bars and got on the ground ourselves and got ourselves into as many of the local pubs as we could. Combined, I guess, with our social media and having the infrastructure of that set up, Instagram, TikTok, website, all the background infrastructure on launch, and then kind of combined with a festival, I guess, and like an event side, and that's a great way to build brand awareness, get liquid on lips, get out to the market, and it was kind of a 3-pronged attack, I guess, in that regard.
Yeah, I'd say. Yeah, I think the Rugby Sevens Festival is a good one to mention, because we first launched at this Rugby Sevens Festival in London, as it was the most aligned, kind of demographic to us, and to get out there as people that are super into their health and fitness and also having a good time. A lot of these Rugby Sevens tournaments are or a good time. Everyone's there to play hard rugby, but they're also there to have a fair few beers afterwards. So I don't think there's a more of a perfect sort of demographic. So like Harvey said, it was jumping into all these festivals and events to get the name out there, and then 1 or 2 pubs around Southwest London that they could then go and buy it. And then it was a slow build out from there. Really, is the hardest one is getting that first one, and then showing that the sales are there, and then slowly but surely it spreads.
Yeah, I guess that first one needs to prove to the second one that it works, and then it just goes and goes. And okay, now you have 10 pubs that are selling it and they love it. Much easier than no one's doing it.
Yeah,
exactly that.
And then if that pub has it down the road, then that pub wants it.
Yeah.
And I think the sort of the landscape of the industry is that you have to really go out to the on-trade, which is your bars, your pubs, your restaurants, prove yourself there first in the independent, the singular sort of venues, because there's so much exclusivity and like tie-ups with the big beer brands, your Heineken's, Asahi, Peronis, who will often, you'll go into like a bigger sort of, say, chain of 10 pubs, and they'll have already paid to have the exclusive beer in those venues. So you'll just come up against roadblock after roadblock. So you have to kind of almost get the crumbs in the on-trade, prove that, people know about primetime sales. Therefore, I can now talk to the bigger, chains of pubs or supermarkets. Like there's a big, there's a lot of legwork done getting kind of the big doors opened, and that's kind of what our mission was. And we knew that, so we targeted our local independents, and we're now having the bigger conversations. But it does take time.
With the festivals, was that a simple thing of like you just pay to be there, have a stand or like a cool car? Yeah, I know you have this amazing. I think it's Volkswagen or something. With like the orange, the
taxi convertible.
Okay, cool.
Taxi.
Yeah. With the is it just like you get something cool like that or a stand, and then you just get you pay to set up on these festivals, or was there also more challenges to actually just get the opportunity to pay to be there?
Yeah, you got it. That was with in collaboration with a friend who was sort of running the festival, and we kind of helped with, I guess, part of the setup and ticket sales and getting people down. So that was kind of a contra collaborative approach. Often you do pay to be at festivals because it's that marketing opportunity where you can get in front of the consumers and get liquid on lips. Each deal's obviously different, case by case. So combination really, but definitely a part of the sort of growth plan that is needed, I think, especially as a kind of disruptive, better for you brand where you need to get people trying your product to believe that it is that good and there is no compromise. So why wouldn't I drink it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you collect a lot of data as well from the people that to get to ask questions, or they fill in a form or something to like understand more of like what they're looking for, or was it literally just like taste it and enjoy it and like just the brand awareness?
Very good at the data collection.
I wish it was that. I wish that
forward thinking on day one.
No, it was really just getting the beers in people's hands, and if they came back for 2, they came back for 3. We knew we were kind of onto something, and we did have that. So it was a big festival, and we had our own little area, and we had a VW camper sort of converted into a bar, and our area was just absolutely packed, and the drinks were flying out, and they did have your other standard beers there and your other long drinks and vodkas and whatnot and hard seltzers, but our little area was such a buzz, and we got through a serious amount of cans then. So that was kind of our test and learn, I suppose. But there's nothing like seeing it in the flesh where people are drinking it and coming back for more.
And you guys come a long way now, because you've started with that, like you said, collecting little crumbs, and now you actually launched in Waitrose not just a couple of weeks ago. Tell me a bit about that, and how did you land that deal?
Yeah, it's a big one, milestone.
Yeah, it's huge. So that's our first retailer, our first off-trade listing. So it's a huge milestone for us, and it was a massive listing. We were in sort of over 90% of their stores with all 3 of our SKUs. So 4-pack lager, the caffeine-infused lager, and also our IPA. So that was incredible for us. But yeah, like Harvey mentioned before, it's all about building your on-trade presence, so your pubs, bars, restaurants, nightclubs, and showing that you have demand there. People are going to the pubs to buy it, because without that, really, no one in the off-trade is going to go and buy it, I suppose. So we were really starting to sort of pick up traction in the on-trade, and we picked up 2 Premier League football clubs. We picked up big groups of restaurants. So it was kind of our time to strike with the off trade, and it's been an amazing launch so far. It's super exciting. The buyer's really on board with sort of building this health conscious and functional beer space. He wanted to be the first person to launch the functional beer space, which is where our caffeine lager sits. And he's seen this huge rise in sort of health consciousness and sort of functional drinking from soft drinks. So I guess it's been mad for us. Closing the crowdfund and launching, I guess, into Young's pub group as well, all happened sort of in the same time. So it's been me and Harvey often don't really sit and face to face and talk about how far we've come, because it's often the next thing that happens and you're on. But when you're having conversations like this and you talk about it, it's been a mad year, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's flown by. I can't believe it's November.
I guess the kind of story that I hear is very much like you're building one step slightly above where you are, right? Like in the beginning, obviously Waitrose wouldn't pay any attention, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, well, we got to get that 1 bar. All right, now we're going to get 10 bars. All right, let's get some more festivals. All right, let's get a football club now. Like you're very much like gradually building step by step. Yeah. And then you building their awareness, you clearly prove that it works. And then you're like, right, now we're ready for that conversation, which I think is a really good lesson for people. This is be like, it takes time and it's just like doing baby steps, but it compounds, right? And then now you're like, wow, we're doing all these amazing things.
Exactly, yeah. And then it kind of changes to actually it's about nurturing what you got, because you don't ever want to be the guys that scatter everywhere, and then you don't have that rate of sale and that pickup. So now we're conscious that we're in circa 400 venues around the UK and a massive off trade retailer. So it's all about activating that properly and getting that rate of sale, which is what we're proving to do now. So that's the most exciting thing, is that we are in hundreds of places, but we're seeing that rate of sale come back. So there is demand. And then I guess with that demand comes the bigger scale.
Yeah. And speaking of scaling, how did you guys manage that? Getting the first initial team, like who did you hire first? What do you think was kind of like your plan strategy? Again, like any challenges, mistakes, or actually, successes that you had that you like, we did really well, or like this, we really messed up and we learned from it. And like, how do you scale a business and with the team and the business itself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's twofold. I think one, it's about knowing where your weaknesses lie and making yourselves redundant. You want to hire for those who are better than you at what you're not great at. So we obviously had that in mind, but equally we were aware that we're on a sort of TV show. Social media was a big kind of strategy for us. So we focused on sort of hiring a graphic designer, videographer, photographer as our first hire, because it was kind of what the area of the business that needed most kind of focus. We wanted to be putting out good content. We wanted to be, putting the brand in great light from the get-go. And because we're such a kind of active, in the consumer's face brand, it was all about, events and good photography and showcasing those events and, making posters and like developing graphic bits for the business. So that was very much a necessary resource, which Sam and I don't really have much experience in. So we're like, right, we're not good at that and we need that first. And then it was an operations manager to gel the whole team together and make sure beer gets from A to B. And as Sam sort of touched on there, we're providing good service for the accounts that we're in, and we need to start that now so that we don't start to lose accounts because beer's not arriving or we're not streamlined in our approach and the way that we hit the market. So, and again, I was very aware that I hated that. I hated doing the admin around it, and it I had to push that that sort of responsibility off me, because I was like, I just can't do it. Like I can do it, but I just do not like doing it. So, and then it just allows, me to free up more time for the other bits and vice versa. So yeah, that was kind of step 1 and 2, or employee 1 and 2. And then we kind of pivoted more to sales, Sam and I, because, founders sell best, I guess. And then where was our third? Sales, I think. And then when we were like, right, we need to, you got to, I guess it's about positioning, making yourself redundant, but equally positioning yourself for scale. Like we couldn't keep ourselves as a salesman because that's not scalable. We had to have a sales team who then we teach how to sell and they go and sell, but we have to slowly, level up and get out of the kind of the weaves and the kind of more linear job descriptions and be more, up from above. So it's about kind of, I guess every thought has been with that in mind. It's like, right, how do we get a team that's scalable and self-sufficient and that we can steer from above? And we're just about there, you say?
Yeah. I mean,
we've
we've had some ups and downs with hiring as anyone does when they start, and I guess it's the first time we've done this. So loads of learnings with hiring and firing. But we've been super lucky based with our team. We've got a great core team now, and two of the guys that started at the beginning are still with us now, 2.5 years on and thriving. So I think like Harvey said, we're still very much active and stuff in the sales, but building the sales team was the most important thing, because that's what gets the accounts over the line. And now a team of 13. So and got a great managing director, Connor, who I know you've met.
Yep.
Who's got insane pedigree. I mean, he came from L'Oreal. I met him on the grad scheme when I left uni. So and he kind of flew through the ranks, went over to Paris, and then got headhunted to be head of beauty at Dyson, and then kind of hated that. So managed to poach him, but he's been phenomenal for me and Harvey, and taken a lot of kind of the weight off our shoulders, but also been able to execute some massive things like the Waitrose, for example. So we've been super lucky, and touch wood. We'll continue to do that, but
was there any learnings along that way, even though you're lucky to find great people, because you said you also had to fire people? Is there something you can, like, for the listeners, any advice for them when they go through that journey?
I think always sort of trust your gut and your instincts. It's normally right. What we haven't been so good at is firing quick enough, I think. In a business like in any startup where cash is so key, there's only so much resource that can drain from the business without becoming a problem. So definitely, I think we now know when something's not working. Because we're nice guys as well. We don't want to give people the chance, but sometimes if it's not right, it's just not right, and you need to call it a day and part ways.
Yeah, I think to that point, someone's going to be at their best performance in the first 3 months, because that's when they should be wanting to impress and put their best foot forward. So if they're not, it's sort of fire quick, because we've held on too long, and startups just can't afford to do that. And I think just the power of people, like hiring right, is so key. And I think taking the time to proper assess your candidate. And really get a feel for them. I think that might be another thing we haven't done great, is like maybe rush into an employee or employing someone, because we felt we really needed it,
person.
And we got a good feel from them, but we didn't really like assess them on their kind of like merits or their, I guess, acumen in certain regards. So definitely worth taking that extra time to make sure that sort of hire is right. Will pay back a lot more than it will cost you.
All right, final things then before you head off. Any tools, books, guides, or anything that you like, this really helped us on this journey?
That's where we get exposed.
Yeah.
I don't read books.
I think, no, it's not so much been books and
it could be tools or anything. It could be like, this software was amazing, or anything really.
I think, for me personally, I think it's probably the same for you, Harv, but we've built a board, and we've built a group of amazing advisors that have kind of joined us as we've gone, and that is a massive thing for me anyway. That they're people that have been there, done that, got the t-shirt and experienced it before, that you can lean on, because we don't know everything. And if there's ever an issue, we've kind of got an advisor or a board member that serves a purpose for each area of the business. So one that kind of looks after sales, one that looks after festivals, one that's kind of more granular in sort of the business planning and stuff. So whenever there's any sort of question or something that we don't know, it's just a phone call away, which has been hugely helpful. And like Harvey said again, is that you always want to learn off people that are better than you and have done it before. So I think that's probably the learning I'd say, is that try and surround yourself with the best possible people, and don't be afraid to pick up the phone and ask, because if you don't ask the questions, you'll never know.
How did you get those board members?
Some through a network and some that we've just picked up along the way. Ollie's a great example. He's one of our non-exec directors, and he owns a big rum business called Equiano. It's kind of most countries around the world, and also owns a festival production business. And he just tried our beer in Shoreditch one time and read the back of the can and reached out to us on email, and then we went to meet him at Soho House, and kind of the rest is history, and he's been amazing.
Just a quality product that speaks for itself.
100%,
just people come to you.
And going to these events, like there's often sort of founders events and sort of networking bits and pieces, and just don't be afraid to chuck yourself in, because you can meet some good people.
Yeah, I think on that, don't be afraid. It's like these guys who've done it before, who are older, more experienced, that they're so willing to help, because they see and they understand the struggles that we're probably going through now, and I can't wait to help. Hopefully, once I've proven myself and I'm valuable. But I think initially we'd been worried to be we're just annoying them, aren't we? Wasting their time. And actually, it's so they're so willing to help, and I think it's knowing that, and then don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah, I think there's once people have hit this certain level of success that they're comfortable with, I think especially people who are a bit older, it tends to be their greatest purpose then is let's build another multi-million company. They're no, I've done that. For them, it's their purpose is definitely to give back and help out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think a lot of people underestimate that actually people feel great about helping out. Then it's just obviously having a great relationship and knowing that you can ask them and that feels okay. But I think that's an underestimated thing that people don't think about.
For sure.
Yeah,
I agree.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming into the studio today. It was great listening to you guys and learned a lot.
No, that was great. Yeah, really appreciate it.
So where can people look you guys up if they want to see more?
Well, primetimebeers.com. You can see our website, get beers online. Obviously, we're now in Waitrose nationwide, so if you shop in Waitrose, or you should if you don't, get us in there. Pubs all around London.
Yeah, all the Instagram handles are at Primetime Beers, and then you'll be able to find me and Harvey on there, dancing around doing TikToks and stuff. So
if you look out actually around London, we're on billboards at the moment.
Oh, really?
Well, the marketing team snuck a few ones of me and Sam.
Oh, nice.
Looking like we did a Step Brothers photo, reenactment, and that somehow made it onto billboards.
Yeah, if you go and check out their videos, some of them that I created with you guys, it was fun. It was great.
It was crazy engagement there. So.
Yeah, it did so fun. Well. Yeah, great. I loved it. Yeah, let's do more of that.
100%.
All right, thanks guys.
Wicked man. Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Love that.